All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Countless Vlogcast. I'm your host, Justin Rich. Today, my guest is Avalaura Gaither, life coach. She's also going to tell us about Reiki energy and about healing. So, guys, hope you guys enjoy the show and get ready to learn. All righty, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm
I love
doing
that
well.
background.
Oh, yeah, it's great. So, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so as you said, my name is Avalaura. I am a life coach and intuitive consultant, and do practice a number of other holistic modalities. And I guess I'll just tell you a little bit more about that because my background is in mental health and counseling, social work, psychology. And I really discovered the power of holistic healing through my own journey of discovery, just trying to figure out who I was and practicing in the mental health field and feeling like it just wasn't working, feeling like it was a band-aid effect. And, I actually wanted to help people heal. And I felt like the system was really just set up to help people to maintain their dysfunction. And through my own journey of feeling like this is not working, I'm not happy, I'm feeling depressed, I'm in this position, but I don't feel like I'm really making the impact that I've always wanted to make. I decided that I needed to discover who I was. And through that discovery, that's where I discovered Reiki and hypnotherapy and dream interpretation and all these other modalities that I now practice, yoga, meditation, all of these things.
Great. So, can you dive a little more into Reiki first? Because for those audience and members that really don't understand that too, people may have heard of the word, but what does that actually entail?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Black folks are like, how do you pronounce it? Is it Rocky, Reiki? What is that? And so Reiki, simply put, is energy healing, or what we would call hands-on healing, right? It is a holistic approach. Reiki, so, Chris Rock has this joke about how, when he was growing up, his family was poor. So anytime something happens, whether it was a broken bone, whether he was sick, had the flu, they were like, put some tussin on it, get some Robitussin, right? And like Reiki is my Robitussin. Like it is good for everything. When in doubt, use Reiki. The best way to describe it is some people, like some of my clients, refer to it as almost like a spiritual massage because there is some touch involved. But it's different from massage in that I'm not manipulating your muscles. I'm actually working through and balancing out and harnessing your energy. So sort of similar to acupuncture, where acupuncture uses needles to balance and harmonize your energy. Reiki, I'm using my hands. And so that's the difference. And so the results are different for everybody. I would say the common denominator is my clients leave feeling very relaxed, very calm. Some feel like they're like floating on a cloud. But it's a really beautiful energy healing. It allows you to go into a nice deep meditation. And the results are, like I said, it's different for everybody, but I would say that my clients come to Reiki for stress relief, for relaxation, insomnia, sleeping disorders, having problems sleeping, a lot for self-care. They just want that balance. They want to balance out their energy. They're kind of just feeling off or a lot going on. I also use Reiki a lot with my coaching and counseling clients who have experienced a lot of traumas or have deep-seated emotions that that are carrying, that are in their body. A lot of what a lot of people don't understand is that when you've experienced trauma or intense emotions that you've never really released or let go, they stay stuck in your body and they cause disease and dysfunction. So Reiki is a beautiful tool of helping to release things out of your body.
So when you first started using it yourself too on your clients too, what was your first thoughts too? Were you nervous to not almost experiment on them, but like to use on them more like a physical touch?
Honestly, no. And I think the reason is, so how I even came to Reiki in the first place, when I was kind of going through my period of self-discovery, one of the things that happened when I left the mental health field, or I got kicked out, and that's a story in and of itself. I took what I call my 6-month healing sabbatical. I literally took 6 months and did the work of who am I? Why am I here? Got coaching, got my own counseling, right? Learned Reiki, learned hypnotherapy, learned aromatherapy. And one of the things that I learned about myself was that I was a healer. And that was something that had been told to me time and time again, but I didn't really know what that looked like. And so Reiki for me was sort of an introduction into the healing arts of like, what could that look like? And I actually now train Reiki. So I actually work with a lot of mental health professionals who want to add Reiki to their practice as well. And I felt very comfortable with it pretty much immediately. I mean, I just, I took to it very well. It was very natural for me. And that's when I knew, like, wow, those people who said I was a healer, they were right. Like it was seamless. And I work with a lot of people who do have gifts, who feel like maybe they are intuitive or they're empaths, right? A lot of my clients are empaths. And if you don't know what that means, essentially what it is an empath is somebody who really is sensitive to energy. So you can be somewhere and you pick up on people's energy. Maybe you feel it like it's your own. And for a lot of us, if you don't really know how to work with that or understand it, it can be extremely stressful. And extremely frustrating because you're constantly picking up other people's energies and you don't really have any control over it. And so Reiki was really good for helping me to harness that gift and that ability. And so when I'm doing Reiki, it allows me to pick up on what's going on with my client, how best to serve them, how to assist them. So it was actually really natural for me.
Great. So all this energy healing, meditation, Reiki, is all under the umbrella of holistic, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
People
holistic
will
is
call it holistic or alternative. A lot of people call it alternative. Some people call it like complementary alternative medicine as well. But yeah.
okay. So can you explain that a little bit too, that whole umbrella of holistic too? And if you could talk a little about the origin of holistic, that'd be great too. And how you got into that too. That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, so like I said, for me, how I got into it was my own journey and understanding. When I was in the mental health field, I knew that it was not working. Like I said, I am really, in tuned. And I could look at my clients and I'm just like, this is not enough. They need more. And I could not do that within the traditional mental health system. And so I'll tell you my story so I can really put it in perspective for you. And so I was a program director at an outpatient mental health clinic. And I'm working with these clients and they're not really getting better. All we're doing is billing for Medicaid or what have you, and they're not getting better. And I'm sitting there like, what is going on? I'm not making an impact. I'm not making a difference. I want to actually help people heal, but this is not helping people. And so I started getting really depressed. I started not wanting to go to work. I started feeling like, what am I here for? Like, this is, this doesn't make any sense. And essentially what happened was I got to the point where I just got really sick and tired of being sick and tired. And here's the thing. Here I am, a social worker, right? A program director. I am helping other people. I am counseling other people. And I'm going through this whole thing personally, and I didn't even know how to help myself. And not only did I not know how to help myself, but I, in a sense was not, I don't want to say scared, but hesitant to reach out to others. Like, how do I talk to others about what I'm going through? Right. Because everybody's looking at me like I have it all together. I have the great house. I have my husband. I was newly married at the time. I got this great job and I am so miserable. And I just got to the point where I didn't care anymore. I was just so tired. I ended up confiding in a friend. And at that time, she was having a retreat, a women's retreat. And she said, Avalaura, you should really come out to this retreat. You'll really love it. And I had never been to a women's retreat before. But I said, okay, I'll go. Because at that point, if she had said, let's go bungee jumping, I probably would have done it because I was just so fed up. And so I went, and it ended up being the best thing that I could have done. I started seeing how out of harmony I was with myself. I wasn't happy. I am a person, to know me, I am always laughing. I am always smiling. I had stopped doing all of those things. And I was gaining weight and I was just miserable. And the women's retreat was just a nice way to get myself back in balance and getting back to yoga, getting back to meditation, getting back to just spending time in nature, spending time with like-minded women. All of those things were so important. And what happened was, in the midst of that retreat, I had what I literally call like an emotional breakdown. I was so miserable, and I just found myself kind of on my hands and knees crying out to God, like, you got to get me out of here. Like the movie Get Out, like literally, like I have to get out. I can't live like this. Like, this is not living. I'm not happy. I don't know what this is about, but I got to go. And I, literally poured it, just let it all out, did the ugly cry, like everything. And at the end of that, I felt a lot better. After you cry, well, you might not know because you may not cry, but after you cry, you let it all out, you feel good. And then I realized, I was like, oh shoot, I got to go back to work on Monday. Like.
So after that, what was your thoughts after that? Like that Monday, you were like, all right, what was that like? That turning point? You're like, so after that, did you quit your job or did you go back that Monday?
So I'm gonna tell you what happened. So I accepted that as my reality. I got to go back to work, and I did. It was just normal day. I wasn't happy about it, but I simply accepted it. And I'm working as normal. My boss calls me into his office and he sits me down and he says, Avalaura, it's been great having you, but I gotta let you go. And I was like, what? What? And he was just like, yeah, you've been great. Here's your severance. I got to let you go. And I was in shock. So I am the classic overachiever, recovering perfectionist, graduated 1A short of summa cum laude. I've never been fired from anything in my life. I am so go hard, go home. And so I could not believe that this man was firing me. So literally my ego was in a rage, like, how dare he? I can't believe this. I done gave everything for this job. You know how we do. And then my spirit kicked in like, Avalaura, why are you upset? Why are you complaining? Like, this is what you prayed for. So what are you going to do? And so that really became my reality of what am I going to do? Am I going to go back into the social work field and just get back into another job that I'm probably going to hate and feel like I'm not doing what I want to do? Or am I going to venture into the path of the unknown and do my own thing? And that's what I decided to do. And so that's when my 6-month healing sabbatical started. Before I decided to do my own thing, I decided to take time for me to rediscover myself. And that was the best thing I ever could have done.
Wow, that's an amazing journey. It seemed that like a really amazing journey too. So like, what are some issues you found in like social work and mental health field like that made you like leave? So what are some specific issues that need to be fixed in the field too or improved upon?
Yeah. So when we're talking about holistic, right? Holistic literally means mind, body, spirit, that you are helping a person every aspect of their life. And what I found with the traditional mental health field is that it's not set up to help people in every aspect of your life. For example, if you go to traditional therapy, your spiritual is not even recognized. People are not even talking about spirituality. A lot of my clients now complain about it, and I saw it as well, that they felt like when they went to traditional mental health, they went to their therapist or counselor, whoever, they would sit and talk, and the therapist would not give them any advice. They would just, okay. And they felt like, it's great. This is a safe space. I get to talk about my problems, but I don't know what to do. I'm not getting any advice or I'm not getting guidance. And I don't know about you, but if I'm paying somebody, I want some guidance, right? I want somebody to help me. I don't want to just sit there and talk. I can go to my friends and just sit and talk.
Of course.
And so when we're talking about, those were some of the problems that I saw. So like when I'm working with a client, I really believe that when we're talking about mental health in the counseling system, you need counseling and you need coaching. They both are a happy marriage. They work hand in hand. And if you don't have the two together, neither one is really giving you everything that you need. And I'll say I have a lot of people who come to me for life coaching who also need counseling. And I have a lot of people who come to me for counseling that also need life coaching.
So who is your audience? Who is your audience and your clientele? And
that's a good question. It's really changed over the years. So one of the cool things that's happened when I first started, so mind you, my journey started 15 years ago. I opened my practice in November of 2005. So I've been practicing now for about 15 years. When I first started, the majority of my clients were white. And what happened was Black folks were just not into holistic. I heard all kind of stuff. Oh, I can't practice yoga. It's going to open me up to spirits. Oh, I don't know what this Reiki is. I can't do that. My pastor told me that's against my religion. Like I heard all kinds of stuff. And so it was hard, getting Black people to really understand and embrace that, hey, like, you know what? This is actually a part of our culture. This has always been a part of us. This is our roots. Like we've always been in the healing tradition. And so the very things that are a part of our culture, you're now, because of your belief system, religion, what you've been taught, what have you, you feel like is against. who you are and what it is that you're trying to do. So most of my clients were white. And then I would say probably about maybe 6-7 years ago now, it's really shifted where the majority of my clients now are Black, and I would say majority Black women. And it has just been a phenomenal change. You see, how mental health and holistic healing has, you see it on the forefront of social media, people talking about it. Hey, I got my therapist, or hey, I got my life coach. And you hear people, I remember, Gabrielle Union coming out and saying, yeah, I was a mean girl and I got a life coach and she really helped me to change that and see myself for what it is. And you have all these celebrities coming out talking about their mental health journeys and how they got help and how that's helped them. So now it's really embraced in the African American community. And I would say specifically amongst millennials, a lot of my clients are millennials coming in. Because millennial mindset is so different. I love my millennial clients, and a lot of them, I went to Howard University, so I have a lot of millennial clients also coming in from Howard. And I love them because they will say to me, you know what, Avalaura, I ain't trying to be like my parents. I ain't trying to work a job 30, 40 years, whatever, that I'm not happy in, trying to collect a pension that don't even exist anymore. I'm trying to live my best life right now. So how can you help me live my best life right now? And that is, that is their attitude. And I love it. I'm like, all right, let's go. Let's do this. And so it's changed considerably over the years.
So when client comes to you too, what do they like say to you that made them like change from like the mental health field traditionally to like come to you in the holistic approach?
Yeah, so a lot of them, depending on their age, right? So a lot of them, if they're like my Gen Xers or baby boomers, I don't have too many baby boomers, but if they're like Gen Xers, they've already had therapy before. A lot of them, they've had some type of traditional help before, and it didn't work for them, or it worked a little bit, but they didn't feel like they got enough, so they need more. I also get people who they are the self-help junkies, as I call them. They've been on this kick. They know something is wrong, but they've been trying to do it all themselves. They've been reading the books. They've been going on retreats. They've been trying to practice yoga or meditate, and they're failing miserably. And they're like, what's wrong with me that this is working for everybody else and it's not working for me? And I tell my clients all the time, like, you can't do this alone. This is not a journey that you can do alone. Yes, it is heal yourself, but heal yourself doesn't mean that you heal yourself by yourself. It means you take responsibility for your healing and you get help from an expert or somebody who can help you along the way. This is what I do for a living, and I wouldn't dare try to heal myself. When I have problems, I go to other people. I have my own advisors. I have my own coaches. I have my own counselors. And so I think the biggest hurdle a lot of times is getting people to understand that this is a journey that requires assistance. I have this saying that it takes a village to raise a dream. And so in that village, you need people who can help you in all different aspects of your life. And you need people who can help you with your mental and emotional well-being, your spiritual well-being, and who can help you to get to the next level of your rise. So it varies per client. And then I have clients who heard about coaching or heard about Reiki, and, from a friend, they suggested it and they wanted to try it. So it's a combination of different things.
Great. So for those out there maybe like stuck or lost or not sure where to turn to too, why would you recommend holistic energy or holistic healing to somebody out there maybe like still maybe a little like hesitant towards it too, hesitant towards like mental health traditionally and holistically a new approach too? What would you recommend to them and advice to them?
Yeah, so one of the things just in the system in general, right? I've heard the analogy is it's kind of like you trying to find a nice pair of shoes and you got to find a perfect fit. It can be very challenging finding the right counselor, the right therapist, the right healer, if you will. It can be very challenging. You're doing Google searches, or, if you're using insurance, and I don't take insurance, but if you're using insurance, you're going based off of what's there. A lot of people might be booked up. Some people just don't resonate with you. So the thing that I suggest is, one, always use your intuition. I think that is so key. It is so critical. Use your intuition when you're really looking for the right person, modality. Look for somebody who's going to educate you. You know, one of the things that I do is I educate my clients. I think, unfortunately, a lot of people aren't educated, so they don't even know what they're looking for. Like, they may think that they want Reiki, but maybe they really do just need counseling, or they think they need counseling, and maybe they do need Reiki. And so I think it's good to have somebody who will take the time to educate you. You know, I had a consultation last week from a client. You know, she's doing all of these different things all at once. And the first thing I asked her was, why are you doing all of that? Like, if what you're doing is working, you shouldn't need all of those things. She's doing shadow work. She's doing dream interpretation. She's doing traditional therapy. And then she was doing like one other thing. And I was like, you don't even need to do all of this. We got to change the whole approach. So a lot of people just aren't even educated. They don't even know what they're doing. You know, they just know they have a problem, but they have no idea how to solve that problem. And so I think that you know, definitely do your homework, do your research, get referrals, but talk to somebody who's going to help educate you so you're aware of what you're doing and what the approach and the modalities are that they're doing and why they work and how they work, as opposed to saying, okay, I need therapy, let me just find a therapist. And then that's not even what you wanted or what you needed. And you're sitting there like, I tried it and it's not working for me.
Great. So in terms of research too, there's a lot of people on social media too that practice Reiki too, but they might not be doing it the right way too. They be friends or people you support too. So, you know,
it's true.
Like in terms of researching and finding people professionals, like what would you say to start your research at? Instead, I know Google's like vague, but instead of like, how do you like broaden that search too, like to find or whittle it down to like find something you're like comfortable with?
Yeah. You know, I mean, you're absolutely right. And that's why I said use your intuition. Your intuition does not steer you wrong. It does our minds a lot of times that we'll be overthinking things, but your intuition, your gut will always lead you the right way. And I will tell you that a lot of people, when they get to my website or they find me on social media, they'll say, Avalaura, is something about you. I just love your energy. You know, I want to work with you. And I get that a lot. Like, I looked at your website and it was just awesome. And I just felt like you were the person that I wanted to work with. So that's a real deal, especially when we're talking about energy, right? Like, if you don't like this person's energy, if that person doesn't resonate with you, don't work with them. Don't work with them. And when you find somebody who you do like, stick with them. Don't feel like you have to call what I call spiritual sampling. You going over here, over here, over here, over here, over here, when now you get yourself in trouble because you're opening yourself up to all these people and all these different energies. When you find a person, stick with them, ride it out till the wheels fall off. And then if it no longer serves you, then go somewhere else. But don't feel like you got to be hopping, club hopping, spiritual healing, going everywhere. So you're right. It can be a challenge. I would say I get a lot of referrals. Particularly, like I said, I teach Reiki, and pretty much all of my Reiki students now are coming from my previous Reiki students, which is, I am just, I'm so blessed and I'm so happy about that, because that means that they really like what I'm doing. They're getting what they need and they feel comfortable referring me out to their friends and families and other colleagues. So referrals are definitely key, but use your gut, trust that more than anything, trust your own gut, because you can do all the difference in the world. A person can check off all the boxes, but there's something about them that you just don't like.
So can you talk a little about like goals too? Because you talked about a little bit with one of your clients. He's all over the place too. So how do you help people reach their goals too and like really get set goals? So I think a lot of times with social media too are like all over the place too. So what are some ways we can like sign up our goals and really like find out what we really meant to do in life?
Yeah. A lot of my clients are #team doing way too much, all over the place. Don't know how to prioritize. And so one of the first things that I do, so, as I said, my title is life coach and intuitive consultant. And that intuitive piece is important because that is the basis of a lot that I do. Yes, I'm educated. I got my bachelor's degree, my master's degree from Howard University. Yes, I am a certified Reiki practitioner. I went to India to study yoga and meditation. Like I am practiced. Okay. I got degrees out the wazoo. But the foremost of what I do is use my intuition. And so what I mean by that is when I'm working with somebody, the first thing that I'm doing is tapping into who that person is, really trying to get a sense of who they are and what they really want out of life. because that is going to influence the work that we do. You know, I'll give you an example. I remember, so the first thing I do is, you know, an intake. I work with my clients. I ask them a lot of questions, find out a lot about them, so I can determine how best to help them. And I remember that I had a client, I asked her specifically what her goals were. And one of the things that she said was, well, Avalaura, I want to stop smoking. And I looked at her and I said, no, you don't. And she said, well, what do you mean? I said, you don't want to stop smoking. She said, yes, I do. It's a nasty habit. It's not good for you. You know, it's not good for your health and blah, blah, blah. And I said, that sounds good. And that's all true. But you don't want to stop smoking. So what is it that you really want to do? And she thought about it for a moment. And she said, you know what? You're right. I don't want to stop smoking. I just feel like I have to because my kids are telling me that I shouldn't be doing it. You know, my man don't like it, you know, all this stuff. But she didn't want to let it go. And so the first thing that I got to do is tap into who you are to really see what's going on and to help to bring you into alignment with who you really are and what you want. And it's not to say that she shouldn't stop smoking, but she at that point in time was not ready to let it go. So let's focus on the things that you really actually want. And then maybe at some point you'll say, okay, now I'm ready to stop smoking and we can work on that.
Okay, great. So yeah, so in terms of like receiving virtual help now with like the, I'm sure you're not able to see clients in person now, but what are some ways people can receive virtual help?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's pretty much doing virtual right now. I've actually always done virtual because as a life coach, I work with people literally. I have clients in other countries. So I've always done virtual. I am here in the DC area in Maryland, but I would say probably about 40-50% of my clients are outside of this area. So any type of mental health now, whether it's traditional or non-traditional, at this point is pretty much virtual. So any therapist, counselor that you approach, they're probably doing virtual only. A small few that I know, I have colleagues that are still seeing a select few clients in person, but most people are doing virtual right now.
Okay, great. So one issue I've been talking about with other therapists and healers too is trauma and childhood trauma too. You say you work with a lot of millennials too. So what are some issues you find with them too, and like how we help children now and youth now so we don't carry those problems into adulthood, if possible?
Yeah, I mean, it's, that is a whole we could spend way more than this
we got time
talking about that. Okay, so let me just put that in context. Okay, that's a loaded question. So in terms of childhood traumas, it's really interesting. Most of my practice is professionals, urban professionals, Black professionals. I do have white clients as well, but mostly in particular Black women. And I do have males as well, so I don't want to exclude the males. I do have some really, really good male clients as well. But definitely mostly professionals, mostly educated. I work with a lot of business owners, people in government, private sector. And it's really interesting, even with all of that, no matter how educated they are, I tend to work with the client who has gotten out. In the sense that maybe they are the black sheep of their family. They are the person that had big dreams and they don't live their lives like everybody else. And so they need that support. They need that help because they're the only ones doing what it is that they're trying to do. They're trying to do something different than maybe the rest of their family. And the rest of their family, their friends can't really support them. Right. And so with that being said, a lot of their experiences might be feeling like, everybody is pulling on me. Everybody asks for me for help, but nobody helps me, or I can't go to anybody for help. There is a lot of childhood trauma within that. I have worked with clients who have been physically abandoned, emotional abandoned. I have clients that their parents, one or more parents have died, some brutally, right? Some through some sort of crime or something. I have clients who have been raped, who have been assaulted in some ways, who have been molested as children. It literally runs the gamut. I have clients who are experiencing trauma in the workplace right now through microaggressions. They're trying to climb the corporate ladder, if you will, and they're getting all kinds of barriers and roadblocks, realizing that they're not making the same amount of money as
Sorry
their
to cut
white
you
colleagues.
off too. So yeah, so that's my next topic too, like race and like I know that I'm handing you with the heavy topics today, so I know you're ready though. We gotta talk about this stuff though too. Like we never talk about this stuff over like our lifetime, so it's good to talk about it too. So in terms of like race issues too, like microaggressions, dealing with like white silence and all that stuff, like and not being able like feel like you fit into like the corporate world too. Like what are some like advice you could give to that, or how do you help your clients deal with that type of issues?
Yeah, and it's tough because you're literally living in two different realities, right? You got your reality, the home where you feel comfortable, your family, your friends, your community, and then you got to go out into this hostile environment, right? And you're told that you have to go into that hostile environment to make it, right? I mean, you got to make money. There's a level of success, all of those trappings. And so if you want that, you have to go out into this hostile environment. So the first thing that I do with my clients is we really have a talk about what is it that you really want, like on a soul level, not what everybody tells you that you're supposed to want, that tells you what you're supposed to have. You're a lawyer or a doctor because your mama wanted you to be. Like, what is it that you really want? And what I have found is that a lot of people don't even really explore that. They are so in the trappings of success and what things are supposed to look like and what people tell them it's supposed to look like, that they never actually take the time to reflect on what it is they actually want. So that's the first thing that I do. And then we map out a strategy from there. Because the truth is, okay, do you want to stay in this environment because it's going to help to get you to the next level? How long do you want to stay in this environment? Right? And what are your income goals that you need to get to? And how can you save your money so that you can get to the next thing? So we map out strategies for that, because if you're in those type of hostile environments, the reality is you can't really change that environment. You may be able to do a little bit, but that is the environment. That's how it is. And so if you're going to be in it for a certain time frame, have a plan so you can exit. Have your exit strategy. Don't stay there forever. Don't think that you're going to stay there and retire. You might only be there for a year or 2 years or 5 years. Have your exit strategy, save up your money, and then go on to the next thing. And for a lot of people, their next thing is maybe starting their own business or, something like that, where it's more in harmony with who they are and what they want out of their life.
Great. So to speak on that too, social media too. A lot of times, social media really like gets us down to, and we're like, oh, I have to be this type of certain person. Like you see the people like successful, everybody looks happy, so you think everybody thinks they have to be like that too. So I think that's like a lot issue too. So you speak on that a little bit too. How you help clients deal with that, or how you help the youth deal with that? That'd be great.
Yeah, social media can absolutely be a problem. It's a front, y'all. It's a front. I'm trying to tell y'all, it's a front. We look at these images, we look at Insta, we look at Facebook or whatever, and we see these images of what we consider success. So maybe the nice clothes, going on vacation, eating at these cool restaurants, going to these parties, like whatever it is. Well, I mean, not right now, right? Because we all at home. But
Yeah, no.
we see all of that stuff, and we look at that and say, "Ooh, I want that." And the truth of the matter is, you have no idea what is really going on with that person behind the scenes. I promise you don't. And I can tell you that because I work with a lot of these people. And I'm going to tell you, all that glitters ain't gold. It takes a lot to get to that place of where they are, those quote unquote, what success is. And so what you got to do is look at what is success for you. Everybody's success don't look like everybody else's. And you have to know yourself to know what is successful for you. Like I had a friend who said, Avalaura, you've been doing this 15 years. Why don't you have, this big office space and staff and all of that stuff? And I said, because I don't want all that shit. And he's like, what? I said, I don't want it. I said, I know who I am. I'm a very free-spirited person. I had never wanted that. I don't want to manage anybody, right? I don't want to have anybody looking to me. I don't want to have this big space that I have to manage. I want to be able to do my work from wherever I am in the world and live my best life. And he looked at me like something was wrong with me because, you know, I didn't want all of that stuff. But I've managed people before. I don't want to do that no more.
Yeah, I think the problem is too, like you said too, we're like so stuck in like this like society's like way of thinking too. We don't think for ourselves too. So it's a great time to think for yourself now too. Like, you know, like I started this like in June, but like, you know, it's just like you can do your own thing now. So there's so much opportunity out there. So
yes, not only can you do your own thing, you can create your own opportunities. And that's what I want people to understand. You can literally create your own opportunities, but you can't do that if you don't know who you are and you don't really know what you want. You can't do it.
So let's talk a little about mental health and policing too. Say somebody's in distress or like out there in the community and they're having like a mental breakdown too. So instead of like somebody calling the police too, what are some methods people can use or like outlets people can use to help somebody out?
Yeah, again, another tough topic that is multifaceted. So I don't want y'all to think like, oh, she just gave this little snippet. Trust me, I understand these are much larger issues. And I think I saw this on the news or something that police are starting to look at maybe having social workers as well, work with them to assist with the mental health portion. Because I mean, the bottom line is, you know, you can look at it and see like police are not properly trained. They don't know what the hell they're doing. And it's like, you know, there's a saying that if your only tool is if your only tool is a hammer, that's all that you can use. Everything is going to require a hammer. And that's what you see with police is like they're using a hammer for everything, especially when it comes to Black folks. So they are quick to whip out their guns. They are quick to do things because they're scared or fearful or not properly trained, whatever it might be. And they're mishandling so many situations that absolutely need to be handled differently. So, you know, as a Black person, again, is multifaceted. When we're talking about mental health, one of the things that I suggest is I limit my social media and news intake. I want to maintain my peace and my sanity at all costs. Protect your peace. So, yes, I am informed, but I don't have to watch everything that's going on. You know, I remember when George Floyd happened, and one of the things that I posted on social media and it went viral is self-care is not watching the video. And that went viral because so many people could relate. Like, I don't need to re-trigger myself. I don't need to watch the video. How many times have we seen this? I know what happened. I know what's going on. So I don't need to subject my psyche to seeing that. It's not going to help me. And so we have to be okay with limiting our news intake and things that are going around you. I'm not saying to be ignorant, but I'm saying protect your peace at all costs. And sometimes you just gotta you gotta unplug. You know, take a time out, take a vacation. And a vacation doesn't mean you know, right now it could just be get away for a day, take a drive, spend time in nature. You know, spend time in life affirming environments. Because we spend so much time in environments that don't affirm us, that don't love us, that don't validate us. So take time in life affirming environments.
That's great. So even like meditation, yoga too. I know you're advocate for that too. So you can talk a little about that too for somebody that wants to get started in that type of healing. I don't want to say healing because you don't have to do yoga and for healing too, but this is for relaxer too. So you can tell somebody or give advice to somebody out there that may want to start yoga.
Absolutely. You know, I learned a long time ago, like I said, I did my yoga teacher training in India. And one of the things that I learned is yoga is for everybody.
Oh, sorry, too. Meditation too. I forgot that part too.
Yoga is for everybody. And meditation is actually a part of yoga. People don't understand that. We have a very westernized view of what yoga looks like and what meditation looks like. And if you follow me, I posted this on social media. I believe it's also on my website as well. But I talk about my meditation journey and my yoga journey, starting at Howard University, and essentially, you know, coming out into going to these yoga studios and feeling like, what the hell is this? Like, this ain't yoga. Because I learned, I would say, the roots of it in terms of the spirituality of it, in terms of how to breathe, in terms of how to use it in my everyday life. So the first thing I would say is, when you're looking for it, is really identify, again, using your intuition again, only be in life affirming places. All yoga is not created equal. All meditation is not created equal. It is so important to find a good teacher. A lot of people are trying to meditate with these apps, or they're trying to go on YouTube, or they're trying to go online. I'm sorry, y'all. You're trying to be cheap. Stop it. Get a teacher. Just get a teacher, because if you are not breathing properly, and if you don't know how to breathe, you're not doing meditation. And you should be breathing in yoga. Yoga is not just about all these physical postures. You should be connecting to your breath. You should be connecting to your spirit. If that's not happening, you're not doing something correct. So it's really important to find a good teacher who can show you how to do it. I actually have an online meditation and workbook, and the first thing I do is teach you how to breathe, because if you don't know how to breathe, you ain't doing nothing. And a lot of teachers don't even teach how to breathe. So that's really, really important, connecting with that. And then once you learn the fundamentals, if you want to practice on YouTube or get the apps, you can do that, but get the fundamentals first so that you're practicing correctly, getting the benefits. Because what happens is, a lot of people are not practicing correctly, and then you feel like it doesn't work, or you feel like it doesn't work for me, and you stop and you never really get the benefits of it.
No, thank you for saying that too. I think a lot of the time people fall too much into the internet too, rely too much on the internet too, and not like real life too. So I'm glad you like pointed that out too. It doesn't feel like yoga, meditation too. We need to have that like human to human like energy and the contact
Absolutely.
too. So I honestly I hate the internet, but we need to use it. It's like a good tool. But I honestly hate the internet. But like I'm not an advocate for that. But yeah, so it's like how can we like help the youth now moving forward to like through maybe like healing, different processes to yoga, all that. So how can we help the youth moving forward to even like encouraging them to like to go on that, do their own thing and like not traditional.
Yeah. I think that's already starting to happen. Like I said, I see a lot with my millennial clients. They definitely are not like Gen Xers or baby boomers, definitely doing things to the beat of their own drum. So I think that that is already happening with the youth. I mean, the bottom line, what it comes down to is education and exposure. Education and exposure. And, especially the youth, because the youth will gravitate towards a lot of whatever they're exposed to. So if they're not doing it, it's simply because nobody has really introduced it to them or has not taught them. And so I do think, with the internet now, like I'm thinking my 6-year-old niece, I mean, I'm trying to figure out, I'm like, this little girl, she can get any phone and she knows how to use it, and she knows how to find YouTube. And I'm like, how the hell you know how to find YouTube on my phone? This ain't yours. Like, I mean, they are inundated now with technology. And so you can introduce them in a way. So if they're already on technology, you can introduce them to yoga, you can introduce them to meditation, because they're already on it. It's just shifting what they're consuming while they're using it.
Great. So for those that want to learn more about Reiki healing, energy healing, how can they get started?
Yeah, one of the I have a lot of resources. I have a podcast, Avalaura Heal My Life. I also have a YouTube channel, a lot of videos as well. So you can definitely check that out. I will tell you, the best way to really understand Reiki is to experience it for yourself. You can consume all of the information, but until you have an actual session where you experience it, or take a Reiki training, I always tell people, I hear from people all the time. They're like, I want to learn Reiki, but I feel like I have to be healed first. And that doesn't make any sense. Reiki 1 particular is all about how to heal yourself. So if it's something that you find that you're really interested in, definitely learning it for yourself. The workshops I teach are about, depending on it, it's a good 6 hours. So you're learning a lot of information, and you're experiencing it for yourself through practice and things like that. So that's really the best way, is to have your own personal experience.
Great. So to wrap it up, can you give words of encouragement and advice people out there struggling, the unemployment, the pandemic, and everything going on?
Absolutely. Here's the thing. I'm a huge proponent of self-care. Self-care is the best healthcare. And I think that really now more than ever is that you have to tune into your needs, to your body, to your mind, to your spirit. and really do some, introspection. And I've gotten more clients now than probably, just ever, because so many people have the time, are taking the time to be more introspective and look at what's going on, and recognizing I've always struggled with depression. I've always struggled with anxiety. I've always felt, kind of, I don't know what to do with myself. I want to do these big things, but I don't know what to do. Right. And so now you're having time to sit with yourself, right? Because there's really no distractions. There's not much that you can do outside of Netflix, right? So this is the time to really do that inner work and get to know yourself in a different way and start to really heal, so that after it's over, you can go full steam ahead. Or actually, some of us are going full steam ahead even now. So take the time to do that self-care work, to do that healing, to do that introspection. And as long as you're moving forward and empowering yourself in doing that, even though all these things are going on around you, you'll feel better about yourself because you're doing something to improve yourself.
Great. I just want to thank you again for coming on, sharing your experience, teaching me, teaching the audience and people out there that learn different perspectives. It's great.
Thank you so much for having me. And, if you want to know more, if you want to connect with me, I am Googleicious. You can find me everywhere online. Avalaura. I'm the only Avalaura. I will pop up with my head wrap. You just go to avalaura.com and you can connect with me on social media. I am all over social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and just connect with me. I'd love to talk to you.
Great. This has been the Countless Vlogcast with my guest, Avalaura Gaither, a mental health professional, Reiki healer, life coach, all that. So make sure you guys follow her. If you guys want to rewatch this, go on YouTube, Countless Vlogcast, and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching.